Many people believe that if the number on the scale goes down, all of their body fat disappears equally. Unfortunately, that's not how the body works. You can lose a significant amount of weight and still struggle with stubborn belly fat that refuses to go away. The reason is that abdominal fat exists in two different forms. The first is subcutaneous fat, which sits directly beneath the skin and is the type you can pinch with your fingers. The second is visceral fat, a far more dangerous type of fat that remains hidden deep inside the abdomen, wrapped around important organs such as the liver, stomach, intestines, and pancreas. Unlike subcutaneous fat, visceral fat is metabolically active, meaning it constantly releases inflammatory substances and hormones that can disrupt normal body functions. Over time, excessive visceral fat can increase the risk of serious health conditions, including type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, fatty liver disease, high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, and even certain forms of cancer. This is why someone can appear relatively healthy on the outside while still carrying a dangerous amount of internal fat that negatively impacts their long-term health. The good news is that visceral fat is often more responsive to lifestyle changes than other types of body fat. When you provide your body with the right nutrition and activity, it tends to tap into these fat stores for energy relatively quickly. That's why understanding how to target visceral fat specifically can have a dramatic impact on both your appearance and your overall health. In this video, we're going to break down the most effective strategies for reducing visceral fat as efficiently as possible. We'll cover the foods and beverages that support fat burning, improve metabolism, and help control hunger, as well as the exercises that deliver the greatest results in the shortest amount of time. Rather than focusing on quick fixes or unrealistic promises, we'll look at practical habits that are backed by science and can be incorporated into everyday life. Let's begin with nutrition, because what you eat every single day plays a major role in determining whether visceral fat continues to accumulate or begins to shrink. One of the most powerful groups of nutrients for fighting abdominal fat is carotenoids. Carotenoids are naturally occurring plant compounds responsible for many of the bright colors found in fruits and vegetables. They give carrots their vibrant orange color, tomatoes their rich red hue, sweet potatoes their deep golden appearance, and leafy greens such as spinach and kale their dark green pigmentation. However, their value goes far beyond appearance. Carotenoids function as powerful antioxidants that help protect the body from oxidative stress and chronic inflammation. Since inflammation is one of the major drivers behind visceral fat accumulation, consuming foods rich in carotenoids may help create an internal environment that is less favorable for fat storage. Research suggests that individuals who consume higher amounts of colorful fruits and vegetables often have lower levels of abdominal fat and better overall metabolic health. These nutrient-dense foods are naturally low in calories while being rich in vitamins, minerals, fiber, and antioxidants. Fiber is especially important because it helps regulate blood sugar levels, promotes fullness, and supports a healthy digestive system. When blood sugar levels remain stable throughout the day, the body is less likely to experience the insulin spikes that encourage fat storage around the midsection. By filling your plate with a variety of colorful vegetables and fruits, you're not only nourishing your body but also actively supporting the process of visceral fat reduction. In addition to carotenoid-rich foods, hydration, adequate protein intake, healthy fats, and minimizing highly processed foods can further accelerate progress. Combined with regular physical activity, these nutritional strategies can help your body shift away from storing dangerous abdominal fat and toward using it as a source of energy. The result is not only a slimmer waistline but also improved energy levels, better metabolic health, and a reduced risk of many chronic diseases that are associated with excess visceral fat. One of the main reasons visceral fat becomes so difficult to eliminate is that excess calories and poor metabolic health create a state of chronic inflammation and oxidative stress inside the body. This process leads to the formation of free radicals, unstable molecules that can damage cells, disrupt normal metabolic function, and encourage the body to store more fat, especially around the abdominal organs. This is where carotenoids become incredibly valuable. Carotenoids are natural compounds found in colorful fruits and vegetables that act as powerful antioxidants. Their primary role is to neutralize harmful free radicals before they can cause cellular damage. By reducing oxidative stress, carotenoids help support healthier gene activity, improve metabolic efficiency, and create conditions that favor fat burning rather than fat storage. Some research even suggests that these compounds may influence genes involved in metabolism, helping activate pathways associated with fat utilization while reducing signals that promote fat accumulation. Evidence supporting the benefits of carotenoids continues to grow. In one randomized, double-blind study conducted in Japan, researchers investigated whether increasing carotenoid intake could affect visceral fat levels. Participants were assigned to consume different types of carotenoid-rich vegetables over an 8-week period. By the end of the study, every group that increased its intake of carotenoid-rich vegetables experienced reductions in visceral fat. Particularly notable results were observed in the group consuming vegetables high in lycopene and lower in lutein, including foods such as carrots and cabbage varieties. While the exact vegetables varied, the overall conclusion was clear. Increasing the consumption of colorful vegetables was associated with meaningful reductions in dangerous abdominal fat. Fortunately, adding carotenoids to your diet is simple. The key is to focus on a wide variety of colorful produce. Bright orange foods such as carrots, sweet potatoes, and pumpkin are excellent choices. Red vegetables and fruits like tomatoes, red bell peppers, and watermelon provide valuable carotenoids as well. Dark leafy greens including spinach, kale, and Swiss chard are also packed with beneficial plant compounds. Yellow peppers, squash, mangoes, apricots, and many other colorful fruits and vegetables contribute additional carotenoids that support overall metabolic health. The more color you include on your plate, the greater the range of beneficial compounds you'll consume, helping your body fight inflammation and gradually reduce visceral fat stores. Beyond carotenoids, another group of plant compounds deserves special attention when it comes to targeting abdominal fat: catechins. Catechins belong to a class of naturally occurring compounds known as flavonoid polyphenol, which possess potent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. These compounds have been extensively studied for their ability to support weight management and metabolic health. One of the richest and most accessible sources of catechins is green tea, a beverage that has earned its reputation as a fat-burning drink for good reason. Green tea contains high concentrations of catechins, particularly epigallocatechin gallate, commonly known as EGCG. These compounds appear to influence the way the body processes and utilizes fat. Research suggests that catechins may help increase fat oxidation, improve metabolic rate, and enhance the body's ability to use stored fat as fuel. Even more importantly, several studies indicate that green tea may be especially effective at reducing visceral fat, the harmful fat that surrounds internal organs. Unlike many trendy supplements that promise unrealistic results, green tea provides a natural and evidence-based way to support fat loss when combined with a healthy diet and regular exercise. Regularly drinking green tea may also offer additional benefits beyond fat reduction. Its antioxidant content helps protect cells from damage, supports cardiovascular health, and may improve insulin sensitivity, which is critical for preventing the accumulation of abdominal fat. While green tea is not a magic solution on its own, incorporating it into a balanced lifestyle can be a simple yet powerful strategy for improving metabolic health and accelerating the loss of stubborn visceral fat. As we continue, we'll explore additional foods, beverages, and lifestyle habits that can work together to help your body burn visceral fat more efficiently and achieve lasting results. Catechins are powerful plant compounds that play a major role in regulating body fat and improving metabolism through several different pathways. One of their most important benefits is their ability to increase fat oxidation, allowing the body to burn stored fat more efficiently for energy. They also stimulate the nervous system, which can boost overall calorie expenditure and support a higher metabolic rate throughout the day. In addition, catechins may help reduce fat absorption by inhibiting enzymes involved in fat digestion, such as lipase, meaning less dietary fat is absorbed and stored by the body. This combination of effects makes catechins particularly effective for targeting stubborn visceral fat. Green tea is one of the richest natural sources of catechins, and its effectiveness is enhanced by the presence of caffeine, which works synergistically with these compounds to increase energy expenditure and promote greater fat utilization. Scientific research supports these benefits, with studies showing that regular consumption of catechin-rich green tea can significantly reduce visceral fat over time. In one well-known randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled study, participants who consumed approximately 600 milligrams of catechins daily through green tea for 12 weeks experienced notable reductions in abdominal fat compared to those who received a placebo. For the greatest benefit, minimally processed varieties such as matcha and sencha are often recommended because they contain higher concentrations of beneficial catechins. While maintaining a calorie deficit remains the foundation of fat loss, incorporating metabolism-supporting foods and beverages like green tea can help accelerate results and make the process more effective. However, nutrition is only part of the equation. Once the right dietary habits are in place, exercise becomes a powerful multiplier that can dramatically speed up visceral fat reduction. Research consistently shows that although diet tends to produce greater overall weight loss, exercise often has a stronger impact on reducing visceral fat specifically. Large analyses of numerous studies have found that physical activity is one of the most effective tools for shrinking the dangerous fat stored around internal organs. Even more encouraging, some research suggests that relatively small amounts of regular exercise can produce meaningful reductions in visceral fat, proving that consistency matters far more than spending countless hours in the gym. By combining smart nutrition with the right exercise routine, it becomes possible to target visceral fat directly, improve metabolic health, and achieve faster, more sustainable results. One particularly fascinating study highlights just how effective moderate exercise can be for reducing visceral fat. In this research, participants completed only 2 45-minute cycling sessions per week for 2 months, exercising at approximately 75% of their peak aerobic capacity. Despite what seems like a relatively small amount of weekly exercise, the results were remarkable. Participants reduced their visceral fat by nearly 48%, meaning they lost almost half of this dangerous abdominal fat in just 8 weeks. The benefits extended far beyond fat loss as well. Insulin sensitivity improved by 41%, helping the body regulate blood sugar more effectively, while subcutaneous fat, the fat stored beneath the skin, decreased by 18%. What's especially impressive is that the workouts were not extreme or exhausting. The exercise intensity was likely within a moderate range, roughly equivalent to 70 to 80% of maximum heart rate. In practical terms, this is the level of effort where you can still carry on a conversation and speak in complete sentences, but you feel slightly out of breath while doing so. This finding challenges the common belief that intense, punishing workouts are required to see significant results. Instead, consistent moderate-intensity exercise can produce dramatic improvements in body composition and metabolic health. Perhaps the most surprising outcome of the study was that participants experienced these substantial reductions in visceral fat and major improvements in insulin sensitivity without significant changes in overall body weight. The scale barely moved, yet their health improved dramatically beneath the surface. This serves as an important reminder that body weight alone does not tell the full story of progress. Many people become discouraged when they eat well, exercise regularly, and make healthy lifestyle changes but don't immediately see large changes on the scale. However, internal improvements such as reduced visceral fat, better blood sugar control, increased metabolic efficiency, and improved cardiovascular health can occur long before noticeable weight loss appears. That's why focusing solely on the number on the scale can be misleading. The real goal should be improving body composition and overall health, and in many cases, the most meaningful changes are happening inside the body long before they're reflected in your weight. One of the biggest mistakes people make during a fat loss journey is relying entirely on the scale to measure progress. The number on the scale only reflects total body weight and doesn't reveal what's happening beneath the surface. You may be losing dangerous visceral fat, gaining lean muscle, improving insulin sensitivity, and becoming metabolically healthier while your weight remains relatively unchanged. This is why many people become frustrated despite doing everything right. In reality, body composition changes often provide a much better picture of progress than weight alone. When it comes to reducing visceral fat as quickly and effectively as possible, research points to aerobic exercise and high-intensity interval training, HIIT, as the most powerful tools available. A large systematic review and meta-analysis examining 84 randomized controlled trials found that vigorous intensity aerobic exercise and HIIT consistently produced the greatest reductions in visceral fat. While resistance training also delivered meaningful health benefits, it was generally less effective when the specific goal was reducing fat surrounding the internal organs. That doesn't mean strength training should be ignored. In fact, resistance training remains essential for preserving muscle mass, maintaining strength, supporting healthy aging, and keeping metabolism elevated. However, if your primary objective over the next few months is to shrink visceral fat as rapidly as possible, increasing your focus on cardiovascular exercise may provide the greatest return on your effort. Interestingly, when researchers directly compared traditional aerobic exercise with HIIT, they found very little difference in overall effectiveness. Both methods were highly successful at reducing visceral fat, and neither consistently outperformed the other by a statistically significant margin in most adult populations. This means the best choice often comes down to personal preference and consistency. Some people enjoy steady-state activities such as brisk walking, jogging, cycling, swimming, or rowing, while others prefer the shorter, more intense bursts of effort that characterize HIIT workouts. The most effective program is usually the one you can stick with consistently over time. Some evidence suggests that HIIT running may provide slightly greater benefits than HIIT cycling, likely because running recruits more muscle mass and requires greater overall energy expenditure. Additionally, a few studies indicate that younger individuals, particularly those under the age of 24, may experience slightly greater visceral fat reductions from HIIT compared to traditional aerobic exercise. However, for most adults, the differences are relatively small. The key takeaway is that regular cardiovascular activity, whether performed as moderate-intensity aerobic exercise or high-intensity intervals, is one of the most effective strategies available for targeting harmful visceral fat, improving metabolic health, and reducing the risk of chronic diseases associated with excess abdominal fat. Consistency, rather than perfection, remains the most important factor in achieving long-term results. When it comes to losing visceral fat, it's easy to get caught up in debates about which workout is best, but the truth is that the differences between most effective exercise methods are relatively small. Whether you choose high-intensity interval training, steady-state cardio, running, cycling, rowing, swimming, dancing, or even brisk walking, the most important factor is consistency. The perfect workout plan that you dislike and only complete occasionally will never outperform a simpler activity that you genuinely enjoy and can stick with week after week. That's why a brisk walk performed several times each week can often deliver better long-term results than an intense training program that feels like a chore. Based on current research, an effective strategy for reducing visceral fat is to perform moderate to vigorous cardiovascular exercise at least 2 to 3 times per week for around 45 minutes per session. The goal is to challenge your cardiovascular system enough to elevate your heart rate to roughly 70 to 80% of its maximum capacity. For those who don't track heart rate, the talk test provides a simple alternative. If you can speak in full sentences but sound slightly out of breath, you're likely exercising at a moderate intensity. If you can only manage a few words before needing to pause for breath, you've entered vigorous intensity territory. One of the most encouraging findings from exercise research is that the benefits are dose-dependent, meaning the more consistently you exercise, the greater the improvements in visceral fat reduction, metabolic health, insulin sensitivity, and overall fitness. Every additional session contributes to better results, making regular movement one of the most powerful tools available for transforming body composition and protecting long-term health. Rather than searching endlessly for the perfect workout, focus on finding an activity you enjoy and can maintain consistently, because sustainable habits are what ultimately produce the most dramatic and lasting reductions in harmful visceral fat. Research continues to show that exercise plays a unique and powerful role in reducing visceral fat. A study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that participants who exercised more frequently or at higher intensities generally experienced greater reductions in visceral fat, demonstrating a clear dose-response relationship. In other words, as the amount or intensity of exercise increased, the benefits tended to increase as well. Interestingly, researchers did not observe the same pattern with calorie restriction alone. While creating a calorie deficit is important for weight loss, there appears to be a limit to the benefits gained from continuously cutting calories. Beyond a certain point, further restriction often produces diminishing returns and can even make it more difficult to maintain muscle mass, energy levels, and overall health. This highlights an important lesson for anyone trying to lose stubborn belly fat: you do not need to starve yourself to achieve results. In fact, extreme dieting is rarely the most effective or sustainable approach. A better strategy is to consume enough nutritious food to support your body's needs while maintaining a modest calorie deficit and focusing on increasing physical activity over time. By combining a balanced diet rich in whole foods, colorful vegetables, and beneficial compounds such as carotenoids and catechins with regular moderate to vigorous exercise, you create the ideal conditions for your body to reduce harmful visceral fat. The process doesn't require perfection, crash diets, or endless hours in the gym, just consistent, sustainable habits that you can maintain for the long term. Over time, these small but meaningful actions can lead to substantial improvements in body composition, metabolic health, energy levels, and overall well-being, helping you not only look better but also significantly reduce your risk of chronic diseases associated with excess visceral fat.